Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I am sitting here with Donovan, a recovering Democrat Sadiq, and it is the Demetra Kaye Show. In fact, it is our podcast. So I want to say right at the top of the hour that we are not live, but we'll be back live later on. We like to take this opportunity just to kind of bounce some ideas and things like that off of each other, discuss things that are trending and things maybe that are not trending. I like to get a little bit more into concepts opposed to things that are trending. But nevertheless, the purpose of the Demetra Kaye Show is to promote black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. So today we're going to be discussing hard times in America. And I'm going to show y'all a video that I saw today of a man, and I should say that he is white. So some of y'all gonna be like, why is a white man? Because overlook the man and listen to the message, okay? So we're going to talk about that and then wherever else comes up, because y'all know we could be all over the place from that point. So anyway, Donovan, what's going on with you?
All right. Welcome you guys to the Demetra Kaye podcast. Glad to have you guys back. Great for the input. Thank you guys for the emails, the messages, and all that other good stuff. As usual, you guys see a banner at the bottom: Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, check, money order, whatever the deal is. If you guys want to contribute to the show and keep the show going and keep the content creator motivated, that's one way to do it. Do not forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get that on Google Play and the Apple Store. That way you can see Phil Scott and a lot of stuff that's going on around the world in the African diaspora. And matter of fact, Demetra, some of you are contributing producers on that app and on that platform have brought up some really good information in what is going on in Africa and around the diaspora, and what part the United States plays in all of that mess, because what goes on over there is the same playbook they use here, and they're trying to destabilize a lot of stuff that's going on there. So if you guys are interested and you want to know, go to the African Diaspora News Channel app. And also do not forget to tune into the Philip Scott podcast and his nightly show, where you're going to get information in regards to politics, a lot of stuff that's going on. Great information. I tune in to Phil. I think he comes on here about 8 o'clock in the evening here. Man, something like that. Was it 5 o'clock here? Yeah, right. For 5 o'clock my time. But the point is, he comes in and, we have some of the same talking points. And I'm just like, wow, he's hitting, the ball out of the park. So if you guys want some really informative information there. So do us a favor this is going to be very, very interesting. You guys keep coming with the comments and the suggestions. We really appreciate it. But above all, we appreciate you guys for tuning in with us, because there's a lot of platforms out there that you guys can listen to, and you guys have chose to listen to this platform. And do us a favor, like, share, and comment, and share it on your platforms.
All right, so y'all, it's gonna rain here. I think we should be fine. There's not gonna be anything too crazy. So in case I go out, and I'm hoping that I don't. We haven't in a while. Anyway, excuse my shirt. I didn't even realize how big it was until I put it on. I've been losing a little bit of weight. As y'all know, I've been plant-based for a month now. So I'm rocking and rolling on all cylinders, and I was out there running today. So anyway. All right. So as you guys know, America's there's a lot going on in America, especially in regards to the economy. A lot of people are just having a hard time just staying afloat. So this video I'm about to show you is a man who it really did get to me, because I know he's not alone. And so I'm going to put it up here. It's about 3 minutes long, and then Donovan and I will discuss it. So here we go.
Oh, how any of you guys are going and going and going. I know you gotta be at the same level of mental health as me. Every day it's something new, between the fucking news and the fucking stupid Biden and stupid Trump. And this country's fucked. Every day we're spending more and more money. None of us are getting ahead. The rich people are the ones that are fucking getting ahead. I'm tired of struggling. I've done everything I can. I'm trying to be a good man. I take care of my daughter. I take care of my wife the best I can. I can't keep going. Every day it's something new. Then on top of that, as if you're not trying to spend money, you have to. Fucking everything's expensive. I own a painting company. I still can't fucking make it. I'm fucking trying, man. I can't look at my daughter and my wife and know I'm failing. I'm fucking Everybody wake up. It's time to stand up. It's time to be tired of this. It's our turn to fucking eat. I want to eat. I want my family to eat. I want you guys to eat. Stand up. Let's go. Stand up, man. Let's fucking eat. I'm tired. Let's help each other. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't care what fucking color you are. If you are not eating and you're struggling, eat with me. Let's struggle together then. Let's be a team.
Okay. So I'm gonna remove that. And I saw that I guess it's trending on TikToks. And it moved me, because he's not alone. And I read through the comments, and somebody said, a few people said, actually, Congress needs to see this. This needs to be played for Congress. And so, of course, he talked about Biden and Trump are both stupid. He is an entrepreneur. He has a painting company, but it sounds like he's struggling. He says take care of his best to take care of his daughter and his wife. He feels like a failure, though, because it sounds like he just can't keep up. He says, even if you try not to spend money, you have to spend money, right? There's always something. And it just is, right? I feel him on that one. And he's basically, telling everybody to wake up. Wake up. He said it's our turn to eat. And then he says, let's help each other. He says it's not about politics and it's not about race. And so y'all know I talk about the Communist Manifesto a lot. I suggest that you read it, study it, understand it. Karl Marx and Frederick Engels, they actually penned the Communist Manifesto. I think it was the early 1900s, where basically talked about classism and capitalism, right? And that eventually will come to a day to where like they call it a rage against the machine. I know that's a group, but that's kind of where they got it from. That people were going to rise up against the machine being capitalism, right? The 1%, the Trump and the Biden, right? Because as it also describes in the Communist Manifesto, it says that while everybody's arguing about race and politics and just all the other stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis, it's really capitalism, right? That's what's making everything the way it is. The rich, they're the puppeteers. They're making everything go. They're sowing this dissension, if you will, amongst people while they are making more and more money. And so this guy here, he would be considered the working class, or maybe even the middle. I know that's kind of gone now, probably, which is why he's feeling it as being an entrepreneur. But so now there's a proletariat, which is considered to be the working class. Proletariat, there is no middle class really. And so the proletariat is who he's speaking of. All of us on that level who are not millionaires or billionaires or even 100,000aires, right? He's saying we need to pull our resources together and be sick of it together. But it's been prophesied again through the Communist Manifesto that this day will come. It's been said that all that will be left to eat is the rich. The rich are getting wealthier. And then, like you said, with Biden and Trump, they are on the same team, capitalism. They don't care about him, you, me, what color, regardless of what color you are, regardless of what party you are, because you also hear people talk about Trump, right? And his supporters, and they're like, well, you live in a trailer park in Mississippi or Alabama, and you're on food stamps. And I'm talking about white people, right? Food stamps, and you got the dirt under your nails because you're working hard. Trump ain't talking about you. He talking about his homies, that's making the money, and Biden is his homie, and everybody else at this point, unless they just got there, but give them a moment, they are the homies because they are considered the rich, the capitalists, if you will. And so that's why everybody's starting to feel it, and we're seeing it, whether you know it or not, like these little microcosms of revolutions, if you will. People are starting to revolt, whether you're seeing it as far as a break-in, or you smash and grabs, or you're starting to see the little bits of it, and pretty soon you're going to see it on larger levels, and it'll be nothing that the rich can do. So let's have this conversation, Donovan.
Yeah, that's I agree with you 100%. And we've been ringing the alarm on this, Demetra, for over 6 years. You and I have been doing that as well in the politics and showing people what is actually happening here. In the United States, unfortunately, the American dream, this thing that they indoctrinate us in schools and say, oh yeah, the American dream, look at the great patriots and look at all this other stuff. We get indoctrinated to this stuff, but we know that the American dream is actually a facade. It's actually a facade under the basis of capitalism. And it's really sad because a lot of people confuse capitalism and democracy. They have nothing to do with each other whatsoever. Capitalism is a financial system that is set up to destroy the weaker business or the weaker thing, that it's doing. Democracy is a form of government. It doesn't matter if you're a communist government or a democratic government. The communist government is the way of governing. But people say, oh, the socialism and this, that, whatever the deal is. I've been to China. I've been to Vietnam. They are just as capitalistic as any other democratic country that's out there. And I really feel sad for this guy. I know people are going to say, well, he's a white guy. They have such privilege and all this other stuff. And, why should we feel sorry for him? And, he's got white privilege. Let me tell you guys something. Yes, this country, if you're a certain color, there is a certain privilege. It's a preconceived privilege. But you got to remember, they have cousins in Kentucky, in West Virginia, that are as poor as the poorest Black person in this country. White people are on welfare way more than any other group in the United States. We all should know that. But with what's going on, and we've been talking about this for years, this democratic dream, whatever, to me, it's a nightmare. But we got to look at ourselves and say, what is the real problem here? We talk about corporations and stuff. And it's funny to me when I talk to my fellow people, they go, oh, I got a 401k. Well, if you have a 401k, what is that telling you? You are feeding into the corporations that is taking jobs and making decisions, because 401ks and corporations are built on profit. They are mesmerized by the profit machine that they must turn so they can give you that dividend check at the end of the fiscal year, whatever the deal is. So are we part of the problem? Have we bought in to a system that helps us destroy the country that we actually live in? Yes, we have. Do I have a 401k? I absolutely do. We talk about environmental people. Yes, I have petroleum, whatever you want to call it. You got to look at your 401k, and I will almost guarantee you, whatever issue that you're against, you probably are buying into it. How many of you guys remember Occupy Wall Street? That's when people were at the breaking point. Back in 2008, was it? 2007, the housing crisis had just happened. People were just...
Yeah, Occupy Wall Street happened like 2011, 2012.
Yeah, because the housing market happened in 2008 and people were just gone. A third of all Black wealth was stolen and it hasn't been fixed whatsoever. People were just done. And President Obama, it initially started in 2008, and that's when they brought Obama in. Everybody was like this, looking. And then it just stopped. It just didn't have the momentum it did. They were occupying in Seattle, New York, all the major cities were being occupied and they didn't know what to do. So they bring this black man out of nowhere and put him up there, and it gives us a distraction. But this is the sad reality of most Americans today. And I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me. And a lot of people think that I'm just this harsh person, but there's a lot of people out there like me. Demetra is not like me because she's very optimistic and, you know, how she's looking at stuff. There are people that see the world how it should be. And then there are people like myself that see the world how it is. It's almost like being in the Matrix. Remember in that part? And that's what woke me up. When I saw the movie The Matrix, remember that part where they unplugged him and he saw that the world was just devastated. He couldn't see it. It was like, oh my gosh. Then you plug it back in, the world is fine. That's where a lot of us are when it comes to the dynamics of capitalism and all this other stuff. Capitalism is built to crush. The most violent form of financial system that you're going to have. The strong survives, and that's what capitalism about. But again, there are people that don't want to see the world the way it is, and that's why a lot of them start smoking weed and drugs, and they want to beam out of here because the real reality of the way the world is not sustainable in their head. Then you have those that, again, they're optimistic and they're always looking at the optimistic part, which is fine. But how do we fix it? How do we fix it? Like this man said, forget your party. Both of these parties are corporation parties. They get most of their money from the corporations. So it's the good cop, bad cop. At the end of the day, they're working together and they're distracting us by saying, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican. Look this, look that, look this. When are we going to wake up like he said? If anything, forget his colorism. The fact of the matter is what he said true? I think it is.
Absolutely. And I want to read the definition of capitalism. So it says capitalism is often thought of as an economic system in which private actors own and control property in accord with their interests, and demand and supply freely sets prices in markets in a way that can serve the best interest of society. That's the typical definition. But as we can see, it has not really panned out that way as far as serving the best interest of society, because it's almost like that whole trickle down theory. Oh, the rich, the capitalists, they're going to set these prices, this, that, and the other, and then the benefits will trickle down. Well, we have not seen that. In fact, it's dry, right? It's a desert. But it should also be said too, I want to really point out, because that man is white. Now, if you see white people acting like that, it is said that when white America catches a cold, black people catch the flu. So we know that it's been like that for black people, but imagine that the way things are going now, that is getting worse and worse and worse. Now, unfortunately for us as black people, we, especially black Americans, we haven't really learned how to be unified, right? We just have a lot of issues, inner turmoil within our community and all of that. And so at least like with white people, and listen, I'm not making excuses for them, because they are largely the problem of why black people in America operate the way we do, right? We're never going to deny that. But the one thing about them is they're going to look out for each other first and two. There's rare that they're going to say, nah, we ain't going to look out for them. And if you want to test this theory, if there's a white man and a black man that needed help and they went to a white man, the white man is probably going to help his people first, even if the black man is far worse off. Now, we saw that theory where we didn't because we weren't there when they did the New Deal, right? The New Deal, FDR, that's what, after the Depression, everybody was struggling. White people were in those soup lines, just like black people were. And the jobs that were going forth, even if it was typically if it was a black people worked at the job, those black people got fired, and they was like, all right, well, we're gonna hire our people, we're gonna bring the white people over. Well, Eleanor Roosevelt was the one that told her husband, hey, when you making this New Deal, you got to include the Negro, because again, they were Democrat and black people are still kind of Republicans, and so FDR wasn't trying to mess with black people, but he's like, okay, well, they can vote. Now, voter suppression was going on. They could vote. So, okay, we're going to include them too. So, it's I mean, it's bad for everybody, but it's probably worse for us. And so what we're going to see is kind of like the depression type of stuff going on. I know they said, well, we're not at a recession. It's like, who is this we? Janet Yellen. Now, you may not be talking about yourself. You know, she's the, secretary treasurer or whatever. You may not be talking about yourself, which they just recently said that they're not going to do any more interest rate cuts for a while. So that's all bad. Housing market is still up. Interest rates for cars are still up, and everything else that has interest rates attached to it, credit cards, that stuff is not going down no time soon. And so the people who are setting the markets, right, the capitalists, it's all right for them right now, but it sucks for everybody else. Because like that man said, I'm trying not to spend money, but my car might break down. Anybody bought a brand new battery for their car recently? Them suckers ain't cheap. How about some tires? I remember when I used to put new shoes on my car as tires, when in case y'all didn't know, I remember paying $700 at one point in time. Now you're going to be paying about $1,200. And that ain't even like no run flats or anything like that. It's just basic tires. And so those are the things you got to spend money on. And if you don't have the money, you got to swipe a credit card. Now, mind you, that credit card has a high interest rate attached to it. So he's right. I'm not trying to spend the money. I'm trying to save, but God dang it, an emergency came up. I have to spend some money, whether I got it or I don't have it. And so what we as Black people in America need to really understand is we are out of time. We have to figure out how to unify, not only against white supremacy and all the other adverse things to us, but for the betterment of us, because that's what our people used to do. Back in the day, we used to look out for each other. You heard such and such husband died or whatever. Everybody got together, made a bunch of food, and, looked out and did whatever they could to help her or him get back on his feet or whatever the case is. So we need to get back to those old school ways of looking out for each other, because this thing here that we see, that man crying the way he did, imagine all the people that are living quiet lives of desperation. That means they're not getting on TikTok talking about, oh, it's horrible. They're in their home trying to figure out where they're going to get, it's summertime now, $300 to pay that electric bill. They somewhere saying, I'm 2 months behind on my rent. What am I going to do? Me and my children are about to get on the streets because we don't have the money. But they're not telling people. There's a lot of people going through that. So we need to figure something out.
Yeah, again, I totally agree. Now, this is reality, you guys. I know you guys don't want to hear this. It is the world we live in today, not how it should be. It is what we're dealing with right now. Demetra, you were a banker, and unfortunately, you had a lot of predatory lending that was going on that led to a third of all Black wealth being snatched and not replaced. That's, if you guys look at it, that was the start of all this Black homelessness that you see across the United States. That was the start of it. Now, those of us that want to live that American dream, and we say, oh, we want to get a house. A house is a good investment because that's where a lot of your wealth is coming from. Unfortunately, 70% of white people get most of their wealth from insurance. So that's another story. But the point is, you invest in a house, right? Ladies, I'm sorry. Men, I'm sorry. I know you want your kids to have in a house and be stable and all that other stuff. But the fact of the matter is, you got to come to the realization, if you can't afford it, you just can't afford it. What is the point of buying a house, something that you invest in, and you can't maintain it? You can't maintain it because you don't have the income, or something comes up, or something comes up, something comes up. And I'm going to say from a personal experience, I have a good friend and they have a house, beautiful house. And unfortunately, something came up beyond their control. They did not have the funds to deal with the problem. And here they are knocking on people's door, family and friends. They ain't got it. It used to be said that most Americans had about $400 in their savings account. Do you know what they're saying now? They don't have anything in their savings account. And we as Black people, and I'm going to say this now, I'm a different breed of Black person. I'm very simplistic. Demetra will tell you that. I do a different type of thing for me. But I'm not that much different than a Black person. I just do it differently. All this name brand stuff that we're into and all this other, stuff, we got to cut it out, because we are in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go. And if you're one of those people that like to act like you got money, and you know deep down inside you really don't have it like that. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you got to change the way that you are spending your money. You have, because basically what you're doing is, like Demetra says on a lot of shows, Black people, we give 97% of our wealth right back into the economy, and then we beg for what we need and buy what we want.
Yeah, I mean, I just got I got a notice yesterday in the mail that my car insurance is going up. I'm going to be paying $500. I mean, not $300 and almost $60 a month. Now that's for 2 cars. Cars are paid off. Now I got full coverage, on both of them, whatever. One's mine and one's my daughter's. And I'm like, y'all raising these, the prices on everything. Is like, but how do you know that the person or the people that you're raising this money on has it? Did I get a raise somewhere? Or did anybody else get a raise? Now, it's not because we have bad driving records. Just the insurance companies, as we know, they're unbridled. They can do whatever they want. Now, if the White House or Congress want to do something, regulate them. But to that gentleman's point is like, I ain't got it. But yet I got to get it because it's illegal. I'm not saying me, but I'm saying, if it's illegal to ride around without car insurance, you're mandated to have that. But so with that mandate, you also got to pay whatever they want you to pay. Now, mind you, when I first got that insurance, I was paying $190. $190. And it seems like it goes up every 6 months. That is abuse. That's also the case for landlords. They can raise your rent whenever you want. And everybody not going to be no homeowner. So let's just put that out there. In fact, there's some people who do not want to own a home. However, raising the rents on people every time you can, that's abuse. And so that's where we're going to start to see the rise of the proletariats, the working class, as this gentleman said. Enough. Damn storm in the Capitol. You're going to see people storming the grocery stores, or places like that, because it's like, and then the insanity of it all is the American, whether you black, white, green, purple, whatever you are, the American is pressured and feeling the pressure while we're watching this government. And it's not just Republic or the Democrats, it's the Republicans too. They have a consensus where they get together and say, we're going to send billions of dollars to everybody else's country because they're fighting all these wars. And it's going to be the taxpayers' money that's going to do it. And that taxpayer may be somebody who had their insurance raised, or maybe a painter trying to take care of his wife and his daughter. And he cannot do that. And he, like you said, I'm trying to save money. And every time I'm trying not to spend, I got to spend because something goes wrong or whatever the case is. And then they tell you, oh, we're going to give you these tax breaks. Ain't nobody feeling them funky tax breaks. Ain't nobody feeling that at all. It used to be where you had a kid during tax time, you earned income credit. You're like, damn, I got me a check. But they talking about when we gave it to you throughout the year and, all this other stuff. And I've heard Kamala and them say, oh, well, we need to bring back the child tax credit because it raised a lot of Black children out of poverty. And I think the child tax credit was like maybe $300 a month or whatever the case is. I guess maybe so they're not taking that out or whatever the case is. But it's like, who's feeling that? It's going to cost me almost $400. I ain't got no small kids though, but almost $400 a month for my car insurance on 2 cars that are paid off. No bad driving record. I've not had an accident. My daughter either. None that we've caused, right? And so it's like something it's not gotta happen. Something is going to happen if you believe in prophecy. If you believe Karl Marx and Frederick Engels, the Communist Manifesto, you believe the Nation of Islam, you believe what you see, you go to the grocery store. You know that every time I go to the grocery store, it's like, now I know damn well this was not that last week. You see it. No matter what these politicians tell you, oh, we're easing the pain at the cash register. We're easing the pain at the pump. Yeah, you might be easing the pain at the pump, Donovan. I don't know what gas is there, but I can't go nowhere. Whenever I put gas in my car, I can't go nowhere to go do nothing. So it's like, what difference does it make? Whether you ease the pain at the pump, gas shouldn't be that goddamn high anyway. You said it's $6 where you are. Why is gas even that high?
Right, and you got to think about it. California, we have the special blend, so it goes up an extra $1 and some change in the wintertime because California is so environmentally friendly or whatever the deal is. But the cheapest one I've seen, I'm talking about the good gas. I'm not talking about the watered down gas. You're looking at least minimum $6. But child tax credit, Demetra, who can afford to have children in today's society? As a matter of fact, I was reading a report where women are having less children now because of the simple fact it is too hard to sustain themselves by themselves, and much less bring another child into the world. And this is happening in a lot of the Western countries. Japan is having a problem. Korea is having a problem. England is having a problem because people cannot afford to bring children. You've got young people who have to make a decision. Should we have children now or should we wait till later? Now, I don't know about you, Demetra, but at 40 years old, having children, or 35 to 40, is not ideal for me to have children, because you want to have children when you're young and strong and, you could kind of run around with them and handle those things. But the next generations, that they're not going to get that opportunity. They are making decisions to where, and I hate to say this, these politicians are pushing deleting your children and all this other stuff. And if you think about that, if you're looking at it from an economical standpoint, and let's say hypothetically an accident does happen, you have to come to the realization, do I have this child out of love or do I have this child out of economics? And it's kind of crazy when you got to say, well, can I afford this child? And then you got to do something else that you really don't want to do, but you have to do because you can't sustain it. And this is where we're at. So these child tax credits, I'm like, who is having children? I mean, I can understand a child tax credit if we're having a baby boom. We're not having that. We're regressing as a society. And it's so crazy. And it's these things. And I'm not trying to point the finger at any group of people, but the bottom line is Generation X. I can only speak about my generation. We've never been in power. And I'm almost 50 years old. Okay. We've never been in power. Who's going to be in power is going to be the millennials. They're going to skip over us and go to the millennials right now. And let's just be real. Who has been in power for 30 or 40 years has been the baby boomer generation, which is over 20 years too long. They are dying on the seats. And these are the people making these decisions. And let's just be real. I don't care if you're a Democrat out there and you're a hardcore Democrat. That's great. I am almost in panic mode as a recovering Democrat to see a man who is visibly in some form of mental decline, dementia, whatever you want to call it. And he is running for re-election and he is constantly freezing up and looking zombified. And it makes me wonder, as a recovering Democrat, who is really controlling this country? Who are making these decisions? You cannot tell me this man, and I had a 100-year-old grandfather, and he was pretty livid, but let's get real. He wasn't really all there, but you know what I mean? Some of us have to deal with that. It is scary that this person possibly could be reelected, and it just makes me wonder, who is controlling this person? Where is the real democracy? We didn't even have a primary. The Democrats didn't even have a primary. And they're just shuffling this guy from pillar to post. And it's just scary to look at this guy as he's just there and blank staring. And all I'm saying is, if democracy is at stake, according to the Democrats, if that's the case, why would you nominate this man to be the leader of the free world?
Right. And so I was looking at, as you was talking about, people, women and stuff not wanting to have kids, says the world's birth rate, because I was wondering, okay, well, what is it globally, right? The world's birth rate, or crude birth rate, is average number of births per 1,000 people in a population at mid-year. Okay, so in 2024, the world's birth rate was 17.299 births per 1,000 people. And it says it's a 94%. So it's like, 0.94% decline since 2023. So it goes on to say the global fertility rate, which is the average number of children a woman gives birth to in her lifetime, has been declining since the 60s. So it says 1950 it was 4.84, 2021 is 2.23, and it projected year 2100 is going to be 1.59. So it's basically saying that the decline is not to the point quite yet to where they're thinking about this replacement, which I don't know, right? But they said that if it keeps on the way it is, then we won't be able to sustain us here. Now, I won't be here in 2100. I don't think. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of that has to do with just people, and not even just women. It's just couples. Even there's a lot of couples who don't have children. Like, I don't think we're going to have children because it's very expensive to raise a child. Just basic stuff. Not you're sending them to an Ivy League private, high school, or if that's a thing, or whatever.
The average. I'm going to cut you off. The average cost of a child, just basic, $250,000, $250,000. That's basic.
Yeah, so most people are just like, well, we'll just be together and have a great life. Maybe we'll get a dog, I don't know, a cat. And yeah, and we if kids, we're fortunate enough to get kids, or have kids, we'll do it. So, and a lot of people think it's selfish, but I don't think it's selfish. I think it's smart. I'm not going to have children for the sake of, let's say like the Republicans, right? They're doing all that they can, they outlaw abortion. I agree with that for a whole host of reasons, but for them, they're like, man, we know these white women ain't having children for whatever reason, the way they used to. We cannot become a minority, which globally they already are, right? But especially here, they're like, we cannot become a minority. We need to do everything we got to, including making women who are, assaulted have their babies anyway. Clarence Thomas, and he's Black, but maybe he's just Black on the outside. He's even talking about making in vitro fertilization a crime, and and all that other stuff. So I'm not really sure where they're going with that. But the point is, people are just not. I'm not going to struggle no more than I have to. You also have a generation of people, and I talk about this all the time with the younger people. I said, I'm not mad at y'all. Y'all don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. You don't know if you'll be here tomorrow. So in my generation, we were able to save and buy houses and all that kind of stuff. I said, you guys, not so much. They don't talk about all the layoffs that are going on. And so this generation is more or less like, well, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to have fun. And I've seen a lot of them say that. I'm just going to have fun. I'm a party with just every weekend. And a lot of this generation, they're called what you call gig workers, right? They're doing the Ubers and the Lyfts and the Amazons and this, that, and the other. Because they're like, I'm just make some money, pay my bills. And if I can go off and have a thrill every once in a while, cool. What do you mean? Am I saving for retirement? Will I even be here for retirement? They keep pushing Social Security back more and more and more. You have to be Methuselah's age before you get the Social Security. So a lot of people are just like, I'm living for today. If something changes to where I can save me a little bit of money, a nest egg, whatever, then I'll do that. But for right now, I'm not going to worry about something that I can't control. I'm not mad at them, and I don't like to call that generation irresponsible because, as I said, when I was young, I had my daughter. I had a 1-bedroom apartment. It was $325 or something like that. And this was 95. 1995 had a $9.50 an hour job, and I can pay the rent and a car note and take care of my daughter, and we could buy food. It was all right. Nobody can survive off of that. And where the $300 and some dollar 1-bedroom apartments at now? They just don't. Not over here. They don't. It doesn't exist. So it's gonna get really bad for not just. And listen, if you out there and you got a little bit of money, there is no trickle down effect, but you can best believe there's a trickle up effect, because when we, the proletariat, and every other person surrounding that class stop spending money, because that's what people are doing. They're not spending the money no more. They said this summer people ain't really traveling like that. They staying at home. So when we stop spending money, because we normally spending money with you, whether it's the Krogers, the Walmarts, and the Macy's, because we seeing all these people go out of business. That what's going on with us trickles up to y'all. So,
well, Demetra, let me ask you this. When you see stores like the 99-cent store closing, which is a store that a lot of the average people actually shop for things that to supplement whatever they got in the home. Because like I said, people go to Kroger's, whatever, but I go to 90 cents for little candles and just little things that I need, detergent and stuff that's kind of affordable. You go there and do that. When you see these things happening in real time, when these stores are closing, which means jobs are closing and, just all of this stuff is happening in real time, how can you sit there and think that you're watching Basketball Wives or you're watching these shows that show you, oh, girl, we going to spend it like that. We going to do all that. That is not for the average person.
And not to cut you off, but I just heard not too long ago, Nene Leakes was getting sued because she had a business somewhere. Nene Leakes from Housewives. I don't watch it, but I know who they are. She had a business somewhere and she wasn't paying the rent. A couple of the other housewives, the landlord, is after them for these mansions that they got, and they ain't got it either, but they acting like they got it.
Right, and that's exactly where I was going. We all know, if you've been paying attention, it's like these rappers that are leasing their gold jewelry. They're leasing the videos. They ain't getting these chicks like that. I mean, it's fantasy. It's fantasy, and we've got to be able to decipher reality from fantasy. And a lot of us just think, hey, you know what? I'm going to go do this stuff. Demetra, if you're making money like that and you come from the hood, whatever you think the hood is, remember we were coming up, the whole goal was to get out. Doesn't mean you don't know who you are and what your roots are. But if you're making it like that, you don't stay in the hood. You don't stay there. You only stay there because that's the only place you can afford. That's reality. That's the reality. I've never seen a millionaire live in the ghetto. Nicki Minaj doesn't do it. Cardi B doesn't do it. Dr. Dre doesn't do it. They don't live in the hood. And that's a good barometer to see if you got it or not. So sometimes when you look at some of these influencers and people that, we think that, oh, wow, I'm going to be like this. You've got even star athletes that aren't even getting guaranteed contracts now. They're not even getting it like that anymore. Singers, they won't even sign you unless you've already built up your repertoire on TikTok or whatever the deal. They don't even have A&R representatives anymore. That's how you used to be discovered. The A&R guys would do it. We've got to see the world for what it is, not for what we would want it to be. And unfortunately, when a system is designed to keep the Black man and woman at the bottom, not saying down, but at the bottom, we have to fight to keep our heads above water, right? How do we do that? And how do we be stronger to fight to even get above water? I mean, and to rise even farther than that. We do it by sticking together. And until we start realizing that and stop the BS and the division and all, whatever else is going on, we're not going to make it. We're just not going to make it. The reality of the thing is, yes, you've got some strong women out there that can do it on their own and all that other stuff. But that's also an oxymoron in the end result of how things are going. If you come in there thinking I can do everything by myself, be it you're a man or a woman, you're a damn fool, because nobody is an island on this earth. Men need women and women need men.
Yeah, and I know we said we was going to try to avoid relationship stuff, but I think it's pertinent, and we will talk about relationships here and there, just in a more conducive manner.
Yeah, what I was doing when I was saying that, what I'm saying is,
I got what you were saying. I'm gonna back you up, because, like you said, people believe all, and there's people who are making money and they like, I don't need. Okay, great. That ain't the norm, though. You probably more of an anomaly, more than anything, and two can go farther together. And so, especially when you talk about people our age, we see people, we all know people. Me and you both know people our age, and it's like you still out there on the field, huh? You got your jersey on that you had when you was 20. It's tight, busting at the seams. Whether you're a man or a woman, right? It's busting at the seams, and you still out there trying to play in the field, but you're getting ran over because your knees is bad. You got a bad back, and your toes is busting out your cleats because you were supposed to hang them up a long time ago. And so when you are age, it ain't like it was. I always say this. When we was in our 20s and 30s, all right, you could just, I ran outside and I got in a relationship, and you was in that relationship for a couple of years. Everything was going good, and sometimes you got married. But when you this age, it's like, I don't want to call it slim pickings because there are good people still out there. However, people our age have either made a decision, right? They're like, you know what? I had a good run. I'm never going to do this again. I'm going to die by myself, and I'm okay with that. Then there's some people who's like, well, I need to be with somebody, right? But I am this age, and maybe I've done a little something for myself. And, I don't want to end up with one of those men and women out there who've been running around in them old cleats since they was 19. And you know what I'm saying? And so we all know people, Donovan and I both know people who are just like, man, you sure did gamble and you're losing. When you gonna settle down? Because it's expensive, especially nowadays, to be by yourself, to man a whole household by yourself. And anybody who's manning a household or womaning a household, for some of you, it's you pay for everything: the water, the gas, the lights, the detergent, if you got pets, the cat food, the dog food, the body soap, the toilet paper. Like, you're paying. Like, Donovan, think about the undertaking of a house. Even if you have an apartment, right? Just everything in that house. I washed my bed linen today. Now, I already had soap, but it cost me an electricity and water. I'm gonna have to pay for that next month. So imagine if I had somebody to help share the load, no pun intended, but help share the load. You know what I mean? We put what we got together, and we can build nest eggs, and we could go with, like, you see what I'm saying? Because I always tell people, I don't own a house yet. I don't know if I want to own a house. If I get married, I don't say if, because come on, words powerful. When I get married, I want to have a house with my boo thing or whatever, but I'm not trying to get no big monstrosity like, Madam CJ Walker had back here, because I'm 53. At the age of 53, they call it, well, what do they call it, Donovan, when you turn 50? What is the term they use?
Spinster?
No. They call it over the hill.
Oh, the hill. Yeah. You're over the hill. Yeah. Well, you're coming down the hill. You're coming down the hill.
So, right. So think of that terminology. Donovan work. Well, this is a conversation we're having. When you're going over the hill, okay, you're 50. What happens when you go over the hill?
You're coming down the hill. I mean, you're going to.
That means life is supposed to be easier, right?
Easier, right.
Before you get to that point, you're like, okay.
You're struggling to get up there, right?
You're building. You're, okay, woo. It's like it's supposed to be like a roller coaster. Woo! I ain't trying to get into no whole bunch of more debt and be struggling when I'm 60 and 70, talking about, Gloria got to go people greet at Walmart. I ain't trying to be doing none of that. So when you have two people together, it's like we over the hill together. You got your thing, I got mine. Where you want to go? You want to load up the car and just take a road trip? That's what we're supposed to be.
And don't get me wrong, we're not telling people go get married, because that's not the new thing that people do. I don't care how you do it, but you can't, even me, myself, even though I'm perfectly fine, I'm an advocate. I can't make it. I mean, to live the way I want to live, if I had a spouse, it would even be better for me to do that. And we know the system is set up. If you're getting Social Security as an older person, a lot of older people don't get married because of the way the Social Security is set up. Because if you get married and you have a certain income, it reduces your Social Security. So they don't get married. They just stay together. They just do their thing, So, this is not really a relationship thing. What it is what I'm trying to tell people is we've got to come together to live better lives. You can't, in this economy, the world the way it is, not the way we want it to be, it is damn near hard to be out here by yourself raising a family, even if you don't even have a family, you're just a single man. Demetra, I see so many young Black men walking around the streets on their bicycles with the aluminum cans, walking around. There's just no hope. There's just no hope, you know.
But you know what? I will say this with the aluminum cans, because my daughter's father, you know him, he's a hustler, right? He hasn't worked for anybody for a long time. He works for himself. That sucker used to collect cans. He's get it, him and his wife, and my daughter, when she was there, to get everybody get up at 3, 4 in the morning, and they go to different neighborhoods and go collect the cans out the recycle. This sucker would make $300 to $400 a day doing that.
Right, and so, don't get me wrong; those people are needed that can do that stuff.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying,
yeah,
you can make some money. Some money.
Yeah, but what I'm saying in general, as we see, there's a lot of people out there because they're homeless. They don't have the resources or whatever. And I look at where we're at economically as they're bringing in these other people. What was that chicken place where they had like 3,500 Americans were just fired, and they brought in the
Tyson?
The Tyson thing. That's going to be nothing new. That's going to be a normal. For you guys that don't understand this, right here in California, and we've been dealing with this for over 60 years, it is cheaper to bring in illegal people to work and pay the government fine if they're found out than it is to hire a regular American citizen that you got to pay them a minimum wage and benefits and all that other stuff. These corporations rather get caught and pay the fine and then do it all over again. They could care less. This is where we're at, you guys. And we as Black people, and this is my opinion, I don't care. We have to come. The only way we're going to get out of this, of course, we got to advocate for reparations and get our money. But as a people, we have to stick together. End of the day, Demetra and I, we at the end of the day, when all the fighting's done, we're sticking together. Walter, my brother, we're going to stick together. I don't care if it's a community. I'm not saying you have to be in a sexual relationship. What I'm talking about is, as a people, we have to come together. We have to get these bootlicks out of Congress that ain't doing nothing for us. We have to come together because the writing is on the wall. They don't expect us to be here. And Demetra, you talk about this all the time. We weren't supposed to be here at this time.
Yeah, which is why we know that Black people, especially Black Americans, we're survivors. We've survived everything thrown our way. We have survived, and white supremacy is mad about it. Supporters of white supremacy, like the Hispanics, not all, but some Asians, they're mad about it. They're mad that we have survived. They're mad that we are the dopest people walking planet Earth, and they try like hell to be like us. Listen, they ain't gonna never be us, okay? But they try to be like us, and so it'd be easy for them to just replace us, and then they can just jack our swag and pretend like, that they don't have an original bone in their body, because they don't, right? We know that Black people, that's Black Americans, let's call it what it is. We know that Black Americans, we make this world hot. Ain't nobody going to, I don't know, somewhere off in the Swedish mountains, somewhere talking about what y'all got going on. Ain't nobody walking around them hard Dutch shoes, or, in Germany or London, anywhere, talking about that beans and toast look good to me. Ain't nobody doing that. When Black people move, this is what everybody else is doing. Oh, okay, they did that, okay. And then they try to pretend like they did it. So that's what I want us to remember too, is Black people don't act like we ain't somebody. Who was that? Jesse Jackson? I am somebody. We are somebody. And with that in mind, keep in mind that we need to be together with somebody. And that's the rest of us, okay? Everybody else profits off of Black people, but Black people and Black Americans. Let's do that. Everybody profits off of Black Americans, but Black Americans, whether it's financially, whether it's style, whether it's everything you can, a sister, okay? Black American sister could walk outside in the public square with a hairstyle, and you're going to see every other woman, whether she on the continent in Africa, whether she's in Cuba, Japan, you gonna see her wearing that same hairstyle and try to give it a new name. Like Kim Kardashian, when she was wearing the braids, I forget what she called them, the something stupid that she didn't come up with. And black women have to say, not so fast, heifer, which is how, if you think about somebody like the Kardashians, which is how they are rich. They jacked black swag. They did. And they're billionaires because of it, but everybody eats off of us but us. And we got to stop that, because at the end of the day, not if it happens, but when it happens, we going to be the one out there on the street with a tin cup. Can you spare a dime? Can you spare $1? And those people that we gave the swag or they jacked it from us, think I'm like, I don't think so. So we better stop and knock off the nonsense. Get together. If you out there in the streets, and Donovan, I agree. Everybody don't want to get married. You maybe ain't got to get married, but you better lock arms with somebody who's on the same page with you and say, hey, I done chased enough booty. I done chased enough booty for a lifetime. I done chased enough ding dong for a lifetime. Let me get together with somebody who was at least in the same book as I am. Let's build. Let's make life easier for each other, because it's not going to come to a point to, see, you're going to have to make a decision soon.
And in closing and conclusion, Demetra and I were talking about these multi-generational families that other groups are starting to do. That is what we got to start doing too. If you have somebody who decides, okay, I'm going to do it alone. I don't need my significant other, my father, my child's father, whatever the deal is. When I say come together, I don't care how you do it. If you go back to mom and pop's house and you guys are living all together and you're pulling your money together, that's what we need to do. Number two, we need to stop supporting these businesses in our communities that don't give jobs to us or we benefit from that within our community. We got to keep everything in our community black. And Demetra, I don't know about you, but I am tired of being in the hood and I can't go to a black business right there where the majority of black people are, not a majority, but a lot of black people are staying. Where are the black businesses? You let these people come up and they take our dollars and they go and put it in their communities. So we have to stop putting other people before us. We got to start looking out for us. The writing's on the wall. Here we are dealing with the Palestinian problem. And I agree, there's genocide and all this other stuff that's going on out there. I sympathize and I empathize. But guess what? I have yet to see a Middle Eastern person stand when it comes to a George Floyd issue or a Sandra Bland issue or whatever it is standing with me. I have yet to see a Hispanic stand with me. We have to stop putting other people's problems ahead of our own or we're going to go extinct.
I totally agree with you. Like you said, we letting everybody come up in our communities, open up shop, and they getting rich, and we arguing and partying, and just not that there's nothing wrong with partying, but as Neely Fuller Jr. said, what you celebrating for? Black people ain't moved the ball. We the most partyingest people on the planet. We gonna celebrate Groundhog's Day, and we're gonna throw something on the grill and all that other stuff. Let's throw something on the grill when we've actually done something. Tomorrow is gonna be Juneteenth. I know a lot of people have had celebrations and stuff, but tomorrow there's still celebrations and all that other stuff. But it's like, that holiday ain't really for us. That's for corporations. That's a money grab. And y'all act like we ain't been celebrating Juneteenth in our own communities, right? But now that it's a national holiday, you're going to go out there and spend all this money with white folks and everybody else instead of doing it on your own. And I made a video on the African Diaspora News Channel talking about that. Keep it black. And when you say black, keep it all, like you said, Donovan, money, black businesses or whatever. The white folks got enough money. They don't need another holiday to get black dollars. Spend the money within yourself. But yeah, we're out of time, y'all. I think it's Willie D who says no more talk. We're out of time. What else do we have to say? Either at this point you want to build, and even if you don't want to build with anybody else, what are you doing personally? Are you out there just spending money like there's no tomorrow, or hell, it might not be, I don't know. But are you planning? Are you like the best that you can? And I know per that guy, in the video, he was crying. He's going through it. And I know it takes a lot for a man to cry, especially like that, because I know somebody probably say, oh, I would never cry. Well, you better hope you never have a reason like that to cry, because that is backbreaking. I would imagine, I'm not a man, but I couldn't imagine being one. You're trying to take care of your family, and it's just every time you turn around, there's a roadblock. I'd imagine that's hard to deal with, because like you said, I got my daughter looking at me, my wife looking at me, and they probably don't know what he goes through every day to try to put bread on the table. So it's frustrating.
And just think of it like in the 1970s, when a man had to walk away from his family so that they can eat, and situations that were going on back there. It is very hard for a man to call yourself a man and you're not providing, and from a man's perspective. It's just one of those things where we're looking at it, and like I said, I'm a reasonable person. If a woman can lead us, that's fine, as long as we're being productive, and we got results from it. We're being positive. But like you said, we're out of time. And Demetra, you used to say this all the time, and I think you still say it. Prince wrote a great song about it. The guy was revolutionary. He knows why doves cry. We kind of know now why doves cry. Like I said, I'm tired of seeing my people suffering. I'm tired of seeing eviction rates the way they are. 60, whatever the number of homeless people across the United States, with a so-called 14% population. How the hell are we 60% of the homeless population in the United States? The numbers don't add up. We have to come together in some capacity, some unity, and we've got to see the world for the way it is, not the way it should be, the way it is.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, politics, later on. I think I found some pretty interesting things. There's a lot of things that's going on. Yeah, and to that, we're the most homeless is because we're the most dependent. We're depending on everybody else. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, they all told us so long ago, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, do for self, right? Dr. Claude Anderson, practice group economics. We are who we're waiting on. We used to do that, but we got to stop depending on whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats, because as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, nobody in the White House is going to do anything for Black people. We got to do for self. Now, I'm not saying that reparations don't belong to us. Oh, it's going to come, because let me tell you something. Honorable Elijah Muhammad also said in this book, Fall of America, which is an excellent read, by the way, he says, because America has never atoned for the original sin, which is slavery, you're going to see it in the weather. And look at all these weather patterns all over the world. I think they said it's Milwaukee or somewhere like that. They're snowing. They said they have winter-like weather, but here it's in the 90s. And Donovan, I think they said y'all are going to really feel fire season, because I guess it's drier now. It's going to be windy. My dad said not too far from him in Lancaster, there was a fire and they couldn't really get a hold of it because of the wind. They said, matter of fact, going on now in other parts of the country, in Chicago and just other places, it's going to be 15 to 25 degrees warmer per day. Imagine that. So I say all that to say that it was prophesied in this book, because America refuses Babylon, right? Refuses to atone for what they have done to our ancestors and what they continuously do to us. You're going to see it via the weather: earthquakes, hail, rain, snow, fire. You're going to see it all in places that you've never seen it before. And now these politicians, a lot of them used to say, well, global warming, it's not really a thing, this climate thing. Now they're starting to say, hey, you know what? We better start paying attention to this weather. I think there is something to this this climate, whatever it is going a global warming, and it's something to that. So you know what that something is? That something is, especially here in America, oh, you owe us. And every day you decide not to pay what you owe America, Allah is going to make it rain where it ain't supposed to, especially out here. Tonight, they said it's going to be flash flooding like bad. So I say, before I leave out of here, America, if you listening, I would say God help you, but it's God that's humbling you. So pay what you owe. So anyway, we're going to be back at 5 p.m. Central Time.
That was a little Tiffany Henyard. I like that. Go ahead.
Oh, was it?
All citizens, pay me what you owe me. Didn't she say that? It's kind of cool.
She better be talking about raising some money for her books, because that looks like where she going. She gonna need some commissary. and no, sissy, you can't take no weaves in jail with you. Okay, no lace fronts. It can't go with you. So anyway, we'll be back at 5 p.m. Central Time. I think we're going to start talking about politics a little bit more because it's getting time, and we want to continue to wake our people up because, my God, when I say they, I mean the Democrats and the Republicans are now working overtime to secure the Black vote. So we'll see y'all in a little bit. Peace.